SharePrices.com.au studios, I'm CJ Dore. What we're looking at here are indicators, technical indicators, and the one we're looking at this time is the MACD. Now what does it stand for? It simply means moving average, convergence, divergence. Now big words, but don't let that scare you off. It's pretty simple. We'll understand how to apply it and how to read it. So let's get underway with a candlestick chart here over a couple of months for this stock. A lot of price action, big high in the middle, down to a low down here. So as always, top middle is our technical indicators tab on the SharePrices.com.au website. Let's click on that. That'll give us a selection panel of all our indicators, and we've highlighted the MACD. We want that, that's fine. Now what it'll bring up is a panel here with time periods, and it'll start with our fast moving average period of 12 days. Then it goes down to our slow moving average period of 26. So keep that in place. Now what will happen automatically is 12 will be deducted from 26 to give us our moving average line. Then we've got our signal period of 9 days. So we're happy with that. Bottom left-hand corner, let's create. Now we've included our MACD with our chart to try and read them together. Now what you'll note is it moves and twists all around, up and down. Now what does it mean? Well, let's get underway with something that is important, and that is our MACD line. Firstly, that's our black line. Secondly, what we've got is our signal line. Then let's include our zero line. That's a neutral territory that runs right through the middle. Now what will happen here and what will be important is when we see our MACD cut through the zero line. But let's move on and understand firstly a key point here. With all this price action, it's created what is called a downward crossover. Now quite simply, the black MACD line has looped over and crossed through, cut through the red signal line. Now what happened at the moment on the chart that was going on? Why did that indicator happen? Well, let's note it came from the highest point on the chart, it looped over, and on that day, big red day. Now from that point forward, red, red, red. So it's really on the way down. So there's a little hint of what could happen. Future price movement, as it suggests, an indicator of what could be happening. The crossover, the downward crossover, has brought this down. Now that here, raw data, represents how we read it down here. Let's move on and let's see what happens when the MACD line cuts through our zero line, and also the signal line cut through it as well. Look at all the price action here, right down to this lowest point on the chart of when the signal line cuts through the zero line. Yes, it is a green day. Yes, it was moving up, but look at the lowest point it got to. So let's take a look at all that price action. It is very short in time. It's a very small window, so you have to act quickly, and that's why reading these technical indicators can be key, on this case, to avoid the big drop that we've seen here. So what does it mean? We'll box it all up, and for this stock, it went from $87 when that first crossover happened, down to $79.50, or what equals 9.43% loss. Now 9.43% loss is a bad loss for a month, maybe a year, but look at the small time period, look at the little window that it happened within. Now each of those candlesticks is just 1 day's worth of share price movement each. So there's the key in understanding what could happen as a potential indicator of price movement when you see the downward cross. So let's move on. A new chart, a new stock, new price action. So what we can see is a big high, it gaps down, there's a big low, then it rebuilds somewhat. So let's understand this particular stock now with our downward crossover. Now on this occasion, this downward crossover happened below the zero line. Last time it was above, then crossed through it. This time it's below. So it's already low, but what happens when it crosses over, a downward crossover, when it's below the zero line? Let's take it back up to that point. It was traveling okay. Quiet day, red day, down day, but look what happens from there. It gaps down, and that is technically called gapping, where it's not connected to the previous day. Now just take one of these candlesticks, and what you'll note is it's pretty much in line or connected to or overlapping the day in front, the day behind. In this case, it's of no relation, it's gapping. And that is represented by downward crossover below the line. So let's move on, see where it happened. There is where it happened. Now let's look at what happens when the MACD line, the black line, is at the very bottom, and in fact the lowest point on this technical indicator, slowly turns the corner and is on the way up. Now is that a little hint of what's going to happen for this stock? Well, let's move on and let's have a look now at what happened during that down period from the crossover to the cut through. On this stock, this particular stock in that small time period went from $4.56 to an even $4, or what is a 14% drop. That is the key and the beauty and the importance of technical indicators. It's an indication of what could be happening. Now we have been told by a crossover, it was below the zero line, and look at the loss. Now if you could have avoided that, of course you would have, or maybe if you weren't in it, you might come on board and start shorting or selling that stock. So let's move on and now have a look at some brighter news with an upward crossover. And note, the black MACD line turns the corner, comes around and crosses through the red signal line. Now let's mark it up, see what happened. Pretty quiet, neutral sort of a territory, but then things start to move on, right to the point where it actually cuts through our zero line. So we'll mark that up, and it's come up onto a nice high and in a green day. Look at that green candlestick, quite wide as well. And then finally, we have that signal line coming through the zero line. So let's box it all up and have a look at what happened from that price action from the technical indicator. Look at the two boxes, the crossover to the cut through. On this occasion, this stock went from $4.22 to $4.51, or what equals 6.87% up this time. Good gains. That again is the beauty, the importance of understanding and reading technical indicators. When could things be on the way down? When could things be on the way up? And we've shown a little hint of that with our downward crossovers above and below the zero line, and our upward crossover and what happens when things start to move and cut through that zero line. A really important technical indicator, the MACD, just a little understanding and an introduction to how it can work with a couple of different stocks and different price action. But go now and apply a MACD indicator, moving average convergence, divergence, big words, but as you can see, nothing to worry about. Apply it to a stock you're interested in, maybe one you hold, and go back in time and play with those time periods and see how it moves about and whether it rings true. Happy trading. I'm CJ Dore. Good luck with the MACD. Talk to you again soon from the SharePrices.com.au studios.